coming to you live from the MGM in Las Vegas for the Billy C. Kovalev Canelo pre-fight extravaganza. I'm joined right here by my man Alex Pierpaoli. And Alex, we've been talking about this fight. Canelo moving up into the light heavyweight division to fight Sergey Kovalev for his world title. Kovalev is ranked number 1 in the world on the computer. We're going to be talking about this all day long, so we got a lot of good guests scheduled to come up. Evan Holyfield, Buddy McGirt, Sergio Mora, Kathy Duva, Bernard Hopkins. So I'm looking forward to this.
This is very exciting. This is going to be a great Halloween. Happy Halloween to you, Billy C. And happy Halloween to all the listeners.
You know, the truth of the matter is Alex was trying to get that in, and you know, we may have a substitute for Alex Pierpaoli here later on because we have some Halloween guests scheduled to join us. But anyway, let's talk a little about the fight. First and foremost, if you guys do not have the zone, make sure you get it. You know, I you know, the way it's unfolded, Alex, and I just want to plug the zone here for a minute. The way it's unfolded is really it's the best bargain for the best fights. I mean, you know, you're going to pay your $20 a month, but you're getting pay-per-view quality fights at least 4 or 5 a year. So that would work out to be saving some money based on the cost of a pay-per-view.
Absolutely, and you know, I hate to sound like a commercial, but if you're a boxing fan, some of the biggest stars are with DAZN, and if you think about, you know, paying for pay-per-views, you'd pay for them anyway to watch them. So the idea of $20 a month, you know, I think it's a pretty good bargain.
And plus, you're getting other fights too that aren't pay-per-view.
Exactly.
So you know,
and they replay them, and there's like an archive there. It's a pretty good site.
Well, what I like about it, you mentioned replay, because everybody knows that I go to bed. I'm in my feety pajamas by 6 o'clock at night, unless I'm traveling. Then I never sleep. But, you know, so I can wake up like I normally do, 2 or 3 in the morning, and watch the fight. That's something that, you know, some of the other streaming services don't do.
Yeah.
Which you make a great point. That's great. Anyway, we're here at the MGM. I'll get you a camera shot a little bit later, but we are totally looking forward to this. The weigh-in is scheduled for tomorrow. We are going to attend that. We are going to be with you all day long today, so make sure you check back. We will be breaking this show into segments, so for all our radio listeners and TV viewers, you'll be getting this as well. But right now, we're psyched about the live audience. But in any event, what's your thoughts preliminarily on the Canelo Kovalev fight? I know we've been talking about it not only on the show, but we talked about it last night. And you know, you seem to be focused on your same thought process since the beginning. I've changed a little, but give me your thoughts.
You know, yeah, I think that this really is not going to be a difficult fight for Canelo. And I don't mean to, you know, denigrate Kovalev in any way, but the thing about this sport is, you know, mileage, it really shows. And if some of the rumors are true about some of Kovalev's, you know, life outside the ring, that's going to catch up to you quickly. I do think that he has shown vulnerabilities, especially in his last few fights. I do think that having Buddy McGirt in the corner is certainly going to help, but I don't think size is going to be a factor. I think Canelo is very quick. Canelo has a tremendous left hook. I mean, Anthony Yard was catching Kovalev again and again with that speedy left hook, and it was effective for him. I think Canelo is going to be able to do that. But of course, that's why we fight the fights. Kovalev has that, big light heavyweight jab, light heavyweight straight punches. If he can use those effectively in the early going, maybe we will have a fight. But I don't know. I think that's probably his best chance, is to really put pressure on Canelo early, and hope that maybe he caves in the little guy a little bit. But I just don't see that happening. I think Canelo's going to stop him.
You know, I just want to say this. You know, we were scheduled to have my man Sal Rocky Senecola join us, and also Dax Khan, but unfortunately we're not able to connect with the system because I totally forgot that I use a different system for that system, and I don't have it with me. So, whoops is right. So I apologize for that, Sal, if you're listening. I just tried to get you, and obviously you caught on that you weren't hearing us. So anyway, I've been switching. I started off thinking exactly like you, that Canelo was going to basically make quick work of Kovalev. And I say quick work, I just assumed he would go after the body, and that seems to be Kovalev's kryptonite. But, Buddy McGirt is the equalizer in this fight, in my opinion. And I think that overall, if Kovalev fights smart, if Kovalev can be disciplined in the ring, like we were talking about last night, and use his jab and be disciplined enough where he can just have faith in that for the whole night, I think he can score. Whether he can beat Canelo or not on the scorecards, that's a whole nother story, But I do think that Kovalev has a chance. Now, with that said, you used the Yarde fight as an example of a fighter being able to get in and land punches on Kovalev. And I look at it this way, though. Canelo is not as big as Yarde. Anthony Yarde is a big dude.
Right.
And, although Canelo, and we'll see tomorrow at the weigh-in, but I'm assuming he's going to look fine and he feels comfortable walking around at that weight. But it's different. He's never, unless he's sparring, but sparring is totally different. He's never been in a fight with a light heavyweight, and Kovalev's a puncher,
right?
So I think the telltale is on that. And I'll tell you something. I have some quotes I'm going to read as the show goes on, but one of them was from Buddy McGirt, and he said, all punchers, body punchers, they inflict damage on their opponents, but they don't like to get hit by the body too. And it gave me reason to believe that Kovalev was going to be trying to work the body of Canelo. I kind of think that could be a mistake because he's got to get in close to do that.
Right. Yeah, and I don't think that he's going to want to, mix it up in close. That's in close is going to, the inside fighting will favor Canelo, the smaller, quicker guy. And we've seen, and I think you bring up a good point about just the judges here. If it becomes a sort of careful boxing match where we've seen Canelo really shine in those kind of fights, maybe like the first Golovkin fight where Golovkin was really pressuring him, throwing lots of jabs and straight punches, but Canelo just masterfully counterpunched and just would score well in little bursts in every round. The judges here seem to let that, they like that. It works for him. So I think if it becomes a long tactical fight like that, it could be tough for Kovalev. Maybe he won't get stopped, but he's going to get outpointed. So I don't know. I'm, again, the thing that's great about this is because of the size factor. And as far as I know, there is no weird sort of weight requirement. This is a 175-pound fight, and you weigh 175.
I think there is a rehydration clause.
Oh, there is. Okay.
But anyway, okay. So we appreciate all of the viewers and listeners that are going to be following us all day. So the first thing I want to do is, if you want a specific comment or question answered, or if you want to be part of the show, give us a super chat, and you're in. You're in. But my man F.A., who does a lot for the chat room. He's got a question. He wants to know what I think of the World Boxing Super Series and the franchise champion. Well, it's funny that he says that, asked me that, because the other day I jotted down, I printed out all of the current rankings, and I couldn't help but notice that there was another one added for the WBA. So the WBA, for example, in the heavyweight division has Andy Ruiz Jr. as the champion, Manuel Char as another champion, and then Joe Joyce as a champion with a G next to it. That's world champions, right? So I'm like, what the hell is that? Well, that's their gold championship now. So the WBA theoretically has 3 world champions listed. They have the nerve to have 3. They have their regular old champion, they have their super champion, and now they have a gold champion. And then, to answer Fat Apples, I mean, the truth of the matter is that, franchise champion is just another way for them to get another sanctioning fee. I don't like it. What's your thoughts?
Isn't Taco Bell the franchise champion? That's what I thought.
I don't know. You have Taco Bell on the mind, But,
Yeah, I don't give these things too much credibility. We know, if you're a fan of the sport, you know what fights are important and what fights aren't. Yes, unification bouts are always more exciting, but when they start making titles like that, I mean, come on. What does that even mean?
It means that it just gets a little confusing, and it's BS. I'd like to quote one of my favorite fighters of all time, Boo Boo Mancini, when he said, "There's only one world. There should only be one world title."
Right.
But speaking about a title, Canelo and Kovalev will be fighting for Kovalev's WBO world title. Now, Kovalev happens to be ranked number 1 in the world at light heavyweight, and which was a little surprising because Beater Beef just won a great fight a couple of weeks ago. Dmitry Bivol is another quality light heavyweight, and Kovalev got the computer ranking obviously based on his resume. I mean, he's been in there with some top fighters, of course, but the division is hot. And when I take a look at it, the WBO, and this is what bothers me about the sanctioning bodies. The WBO already has Canelo Alvarez ranked number 1 in the light heavyweight division. He hasn't fought in the light heavyweight division yet. I mean, I don't see, and then to be fair, in the heavyweight division, they also already have Usyk ranked at number 1, and he fought 1 against
Chaz Witherspoon.
Well, I mean, Chaz Witherspoon on 4 days' notice, does not justify a number 1 world ranking.
Right.
So I mean, I happen to have, it's easy for me to lose faith in the ranking system.
Yeah, I think so, and I think that's the thing about titles too. Titles mean something to the fighters because when you have a title fight, it's usually for more money. Then you get, you have to defend it, things like that. That are, in terms of financially, it's just good business. And I don't mean to denigrate that, but if you're a fan of the sport, it's not like. Other sports don't have this. Like right now we've got a World Series champion. Well, imagine if there was 4 World Series.
He really knows how to.
I want to rub it in.
I lost money on that game last night. But anyway.
Yeah, between the Washington Nationals and me wishing I bumped into AOC at the Baltimore Airport.
Why do you have to bring that up? Now I'm going to get sick. But can we keep it on boxing?
Needling Billy C.
Can we keep it on discussing boxing? But it looks like a really good card. That's for sure. So if you're going to be in the Las Vegas area, you should definitely stop by and get yourself tickets. But it looks like 9 bouts are scheduled.
Yeah, it's very exciting, and I'm very excited about the Marlon Esparza fight. She's in the room here. At least I saw her briefly, but that fight is looking interesting between Ciencia Estrada and Marlon Esparza. They've gotten really personal and nasty, which I think seems to be the trend with everything today. But,
yeah, especially you.
That's the way the social media world goes. Is if a smack talk can sell a fight, they go for it. But I do think that Esparza, has the much better amateur credentials. But Estrada, I think is no soft touch, and I do think that in her last fight she showed tremendous guts. She ended up stopping her opponent after taking a grisly gash in her scalp, and I do think that this should be an interesting fight on the card. I'm pretty sure that's the first fight DAZN will be showing when they go live.
Once again, if you don't know Alex, he always likes to bring in the horrific cuts and blood and being Halloween and
well,
stuff.
Well, because that's the thing about this sport, is There's all the physical parts of it. I mean, when you think about it, this is a city with lots of millions of dollars and, kings and queens. And what is everybody excited for? A fist fight.
Right. It's funny. I was watching last night. I was watching an old rerun of MASH, and they were putting the guys against each other for boxing. It was like kind of funny. With Klinger was one of them.
Oh yeah.
But anyway, we're going to be getting. We have a good list of guests coming up, but one that we didn't mention was Blair Cobbs, and he's going to be joining us here in a few minutes. Blair Cobbs is an undefeated fighter. He's 12-0 with a draw, with 8 of his wins coming by knockout. He's in the welterweight division, and we all know how hot that division is. We heard an interesting story. We won't get into it until Blair joins us here, but I'm looking forward to meeting him. He seems like he's already had an interesting life.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it too. And of everybody in this room, by far, he has the most colorful shirt.
Yes, he does.
So I'm looking forward to seeing that up close.
Yeah. Well, we're just starting here. We're going to be going all day long, and we're looking forward to it. We will be getting everybody else's thoughts on the Canelo Kovalev fight, and like I started to allude to, I'll give you my official prediction later on in the show, like towards the end, of course. But to be honest with you, I keep flip-flopping, so I very well may change my mind during this show, Alex.
All right, awesome.
I know
great.
Alex won't.
I probably won't.
He's already, I might start to see it Alex's way as well, but we'll see what happens. But I really think that Kovalev is a live dog. By the way, when I checked the odds yesterday here at the sports book at the MGM, 4-1 favorite Canelo is. So I mean that makes sense.
Yeah.
At least it's not something like a 1,000. You got to lay $1,000 to win $100.
Right.
It's you only have to lay out 400 to win 100. But hey, listen, it's you got to give Canelo credit. We could say all we want about the realistic or the possibility of him picking the right opponents, but the truth of the matter is that he's moving up in weight, and he's fighting a good opponent.
Yeah.
So right now. Blair Cobbs is going to get mic'd up right now.
Switch.
And we'll get him on the camera shot. You could switch over here, Blair.
Yes, so everybody can see your shirt.
We're lucky enough to get Blair here at the last minute. Otherwise, we would have taken. If you could just put the headset on, and you're all set with that. Alex is obsessed with your shirt, and we know that there's we know you have a great story. But could you tell him about the shirt so we can move on?
It's a gorgeous $500 shirt made from a very, very good artist. I can't even pronounce his name. That's how good he is.
Oh, so you're like me. I'm the murderer of names. I destroy anyone's name.
Yeah,
yours I got.
He's from Italy somewhere.
That's right. Good call. Hey, Mario was telling us earlier, you have an interesting story that was put out. I missed it. Mario gave me a quick line on it. Tell us about it.
Well, it's a very, very intricate story, very complex. But if I was to break it down in a very simple manner, I started boxing in Mexico. Before that, I was living a beautiful life, very, very fruitful life in Hollywood and Beverly Hills. I had a mansion in Hollywood. I had a really nice house in Beverly Hills. I was going to Beverly Hills High School, like clueless.
Is there really a Beverly Hills High School? I hear so much about all the privileged people going to Beverly Hills.
Yeah.
I thought it was like one of those 90210 type.
Like it was just like something that you see on TV.
Yeah. No, really, I'm not kidding. But it's actually called Beverly Hills High School.
Yeah. Absolutely. Beverly Hills High School.
I'm from New York, so we don't have.
Hey, I was in New York too. I understand. I used to be in the Bronx, Brooklyn, all that stuff. But I was
so you've tasted the best bread and pizza on the planet then.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
That's right.
Yup.
So I'm sorry, finished. You were living it up.
I was living it up, and then my whole life just took a crazy turn of events. My father, he got into some legal issues, and we had to go on the run. And while I was on the run, I lost everything. I lost my identity because I couldn't even say who I was anymore. You know, I couldn't be anybody. And little by little, you start to notice people actually treat you like that too. Like, yo, you're not even a real person. Get out of here. Don't talk to me.
And
so,
you went to Beverly Hills High School. Sure you did. That's what they tell you, right? After
yeah. So, and in that time period where I lost everything in Mexico, I found boxing. Boxing was my sanctuary to keep me keep me moving forward.
Had
in
you
life.
boxed before, or in Mexico was the first time?
Mexico was the first time. No, you know, beforehand, I was always lying. I was always telling people, "Hey, man, I'm a boxer, this and that." You know, that was really just to keep the bullies away from me. You know.
So you started boxing, you got into boxing, and you loved it. What kind of amateur career did you have?
Well, I fell in love with the sport. I fell in love with the culture in Mexico, and I started like actually fighting like right away. After 2 weeks of training in Mexico, we were already having fights. 2 weeks of training went straight to fighting.
Wow.
And like I had like over 20 fights. We was fighting almost like back to back every weekend. There was a fight. So we would fight consistently in Mexico as far as amateurs, and they were very much like semi-pro fights. They were knockout, drag-out wars. If you finish them, you finish them. So I had a lot of knockouts. I was killing guys out there because I was so dedicated to the sport.
And those were like all unsanctioned, like no headgear?
No, amateur.
Yeah.
They were amateur.
Amateur, and some of them were like semi-pros.
Oh, wow.
And stuff like that. And then I finally had the opportunity to come back to America. And I spent a little bit of time in New York, and then most of my time I spent in Philadelphia, where I had to kind of find my own way and survive the city streets, the tough, rough city streets of Philadelphia, for quite a while until like I turned pro in Philly, while I was in Philly, and then finally I got a small opportunity to get out of Philly, and then I came to Las Vegas, and that's where I actually made all my breakthroughs in Las Vegas.
And you're living here and training out here now?
Yeah, absolutely. Living here in Vegas.
So you turned pro in Mexico, or when you came back to the States?
I turned pro when I came back to the States. I was living in Philadelphia for like over 10 years, you know.
So,
but as a young adult.
So you learned how to fight in Mexico. Now, would you describe your style as a Mexican style, or did you adapt, based on your skill set?
My style is almost as crazy as my personality. I have
And the shirt?
Yeah, as crazy as this shirt on me right now. Because I have a multiple personality type of thing going on. I have split personalities. So in the ring, you can kind of see it reflect. Like one round I was like this, and then another round I'm completely different. And I'm constantly and continually growing in each and every fight. So I can't even tell you what my style is, because it's unpredictable. I think the best part about my style is that it's unpredictable.
Well, it seems to be working. You're an undefeated fighter, 12-0, 80 of your wins coming by knockout. Apparently, your opponents feel the same way. They they can't figure you out. Do you think that you're going to settle into a style, or are you going to try to be unpredictable forever?
I think the whole unpredictable type of way I've been going about it is something where it just happens by nature. Like I will be training this way and doing everything this way, and beating all my sparring partners in the same type of fashion. And then we get in the ring, and if they throw something that can stop what I'm doing, I can flip it almost instantly. And
but that's the key.
Yeah.
To make those adjustments. I mean, we're always talking about when we're looking at a trainer, and you're watching a fight, and they train for a specific kind of a fight, and then the trainer isn't helping the fighter make the adjustment during the fight. I mean, that's what separates success from failure. So it seems like you can pick that up on your own. Already.
Like me and my team, we're hilarious. I have a outstanding boxing training program. My trainers are incredible. They're growing me to get to be on the level of the top tier fighters. And the funny part is they actually help my opponents. Like they give them tips in order to try to beat me. The whole idea is, hey, how can we challenge Blair Cobbs today? And every time I figure a way around it.
Let's challenge him.
Yeah, well, what happens if you throw a lot of jabs? Throw more jabs at him. I'm like, oh, I don't like it when he goes to the body. Like, go to the body. Chase him down. Like, just doing anything they can to get me out of there, because it's all about that pressure and going through that adversity and seeing how you deal with it. And I've just been passing each test through my training and in fighting.
Well, Blair, you found yourself on arguably one of the biggest cards of the year. How do you feel about that? I know you're focused on your opponent and stuff, but you are on, this giant card. It's a historical card for all intent purposes. I mean, does that change your view, or are you trying to make it like any other fight for you?
The biggest thing about this card is Blair the Flair. At the end of the day, Blair the Flair got on this card. Regardless of whoever he's dancing with, he can dance all night long like Lionel Richie, and he's going to put on a tremendous performance. The biggest thing on this card is Blair the Flair. It's Canelo Alvarez and Kovalev, and right under that should be Blair the Flair. Matter of fact, Blair the Flair, it should be X'd out. Blair the Flair have arrived. Blair the Flair arrival.
Let me give you a little history. About I guess it was 6 or 7 years ago, we were here doing an event, and the main event was Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. against Sergio Mora, and the co-main event was Canelo. So what you're saying is not that crazy, because you yourself, 5-6 years from now, could be headlining a card like this. And I've never seen you fight, and Mario gave us a heads up on you. So now, and after meeting you, I'm looking forward to it.
Is this your first 10-rounder?
No.
Okay.
No.
Because you stopped a lot of guys. I see you went 8 once, but you haven't gone full 10 yet.
The last fight that I fought went 9 rounds before I actually put him out.
Stop. Okay.
You have one draw on your record. What was the deal in that fight?
Oh man, I was trying to make 140, and my body doesn't fluctuate that well. So I was trying to make 140. They told me to make 140 on the dot, and I'm like, oh man. I mean, I could make 142 easy. I could make 143 easy. I'm like, can we at least get a couple pounds? I mean, we're not even fighting for a title. And like, no, we want you to make 140 to see if you can make it. And we tried to make it the best way we can. I took 2 weeks off from everything just to try to make the weight. And like, even when I got to the scale, I wasn't quite 140. I was trying to do everything. It's
like think light.
Yeah, I'm like think light. And then somehow I got
feathers.
I got feathers. Float. Sometimes you just gotta levitate.
Well, it's funny. In the future, if that's ever a problem, that's when you word the contract 140 plus or minus 2.
Right, or thereabouts.
Yeah.
But Blair, we appreciate you stopping by, and I'm really looking forward to seeing you fight Saturday night. And I hope we can get you on the show. I'll get your info from Mario, and we'll get you on our regular show. You can talk about your victory.
Thank you.
After Saturday. All right.
Awesome.
Thanks, my man.
Good
luck.
Hold up, before we go.
Blair the Flair.
Before we go, you guys need to understand that come November 2nd, Blair the Flair Cobbs, the most exciting man in boxing, is going to show up and show out. Woo!
Blair the Flair Cobbs. We're looking forward to seeing
to it.
And we're glad you stopped by.
Thank you.
All right.
Great
Good
meeting
luck,
you.
my man. Nice shirt, too. Alex is obsessed with
I love it.
So, anyway, we're going to take a short break. And when we come back, we'll talk some more about Canelo Kovalev.
Pools are an incredible alternative to traditional pools, making it easy and inexpensive to swim at home. Exercise year-round against a smooth current set to your desired pace and temperature. With our new underwater treadmill, you can walk or run without stressing your joints. Endless pools are simple to install and even simpler to maintain. The water stays crystal clear with almost no chlorine. Call for your free idea kit and experience the freedom of swimming at home.
Snacking has never been this exciting. At Graze.com, we combine wholesome ingredients with the flavors we all love to create over 100 exciting snacks, like these. We'd love to send you a Graze sampler box for free. Just go to Graze.com, enter the code ENJOY36, and we'll mail your free box to your home or office. Join thousands of Grazers already in love with our exciting snacks. So come to Graze.com for your first box free.
Broken air conditioning, $4,400. Failing refrigerator, $2,500. Don't let outrageous repair and replacement bills like these bust your budget. Get the First American Home Warranty Plan. And when a covered appliance or system breaks, we'll repair it or replace it for you.
We had a high-end dishwasher go kaput. They put it in a brand new dishwasher.
We have plans that cover air conditioning, most appliances, plus heating, plumbing, electrical systems, and much more. Plans start as low as $25 a month. Why let a major appliance or system break down, bust your budget, or go through the hassle of finding trustworthy service people? Last year alone, we saved our customers over $120 million. Don't wait until something breaks and you're stuck with a huge bill.
You save a lot of money.
It's absolutely worth it.
If you don't have First American Warranty, get it.
Call 1-800-946-6234 for your free no-obligation quote.
Need relief from backaches and stiffness in your hips or down your legs? Then you need Dr. Ho's Back Relief Belt. The innovative technology works to support and decompress your spine. And now it's covered by Medicare.
Every patient with back pain should be wearing this belt.
Nothing gave me instant relief except for the Dr. Ho belt.
Feel good while standing, walking, driving, doing housework, and while laying down. And now Dr. Ho's patented belt is available at our best price ever. It's even covered by Medicare. Order now and get the easy-to-use hand pump and back rehabilitation DVD free.
You know, similar belts can cost you almost $1,000, but my belts won't cost you $500, not $300, not even $200. I will give you my special TV price.
And remember, Dr. Ho's belt is covered by Medicare.
If you know a friend or family member that suffers with pain, get them my system today. Help them live with less pain, be more active, and get back to doing the things they love. Give them the gift of health.
Endless pools are an incredible alternative to traditional pools, making it easy and inexpensive to swim at home. Exercise year-round against a smooth current set to your desired pace and temperature. With our new underwater treadmill, you can walk or run without stressing your...
And we're back. We're coming to you live from the MGM in Las Vegas as we're doing our Canelo Kovalev pre-fight extravaganza show. I'm sitting here with Alex Pierpaoli, and I just want to straighten somebody out. I'm not going to mention because he didn't give us a super chat or nothing like that. But the truth of the matter is DAZN is $20 a month. It's $19.99. It went from $9 up until $19.99. Now, I don't know if they officially raised it yet. I'm pretty sure they did, Alex. But if they didn't, they are. That's the plan. So the person in the chat room who feels that they should be correcting me, forget about it. Don't correct Billy C. But anyway, interesting interview with Blair Cobbs. What did you think?
I thought that was really good. I mean, that's what I love about a young fighter, is just the confidence and the, that motivation. And yeah, I don't know. I'm very excited to see him fight. He seems like a real energetic kid, and this should be a good one.
Fat Apple says he's got a Ric Flair woo. But he was had some charisma. I hope that he does well. We'll get a chance to see him. I've never seen him fight. Actually, one of boxing's best publicists, Mario Serrano, was here earlier and slid him in for us. He seems to align himself with some good fighters. So I'm looking nothing but quality from this guy Saturday night.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
And speaking about the rest of the card, there are some other interesting fights. Of course, the co-main event, Ryan Garcia against Romero Dono. Ryan is here. We got him last time. This is a big test for him. When you look at the rankings, he was ranked higher. We'll get into it a little bit later. I think if my memory serves me correctly, Garcia is ranked at like number 16 in the world by the computer, and Dono is ranked in the high 20s. I don't know if that's accurate. I think, to be honest with you, no disrespect to Ryan Garcia, but he hasn't fought anybody close to Dono's caliber, and I think it's going to be an interesting fight. I like the fight. I think that it's going to be it's not an easy fight for Garcia.
No, definitely not. Dono is a tough guy, and these guys have wanted to face each other for a while. Everybody knows about the little back and forth that Garcia had with his promoter. But it looks like it's going to happen, and I think we're in for it's the fans win because it's a good matchup.
Yeah, that whole thing was a joke, because he was he's dissing me, he's this, he's that. He didn't want nothing to do with him. He gets his money. We're family.
We're good.
We're family. It's funny how things change. But something that on that discussion, or on that topic, I should say. It's been reported by multiple sources that, Oscar De La Hoya and Canelo Alvarez are clearly, their relationship is diminishing rapidly. What's your thoughts on that?
Everybody grow, sometimes people grow apart, whether it's a relationship or a business relationship, whatever. I think that Golden Boy has done really well for Canelo Alvarez, and I don't know. You do think, oh, what about loyalty and all that? But like I said, people sometimes grow apart, and maybe they will end up parting. I do think that Golden Boy has. If you think about in terms of financially, he's one of the biggest stars in the whole sport. And for a while last year, he was the highest paid athlete on earth. And then some pitcher, I guess, beat him.
The thing is this. People, I think what's happening is people are losing sight of what a promoter does and what a fighter's supposed to do. And it's just the world we live in today. A promoter promotes a fighter, builds a fighter up, invests money in a fighter early in his career, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, I think they've done a great job with him.
Okay, but what happens is, and the same thing, again, and this is why, people disagree with me when I say this, because it's not so much against Floyd Mayweather, but the way he made it and the way he succeeded in getting to where he got to in his career, both, from a legacy standpoint, through his financial gains, was because he's Floyd. And now everybody's trying to emulate that. And one of the things Floyd did was that he began to market himself when he was still under the Top Rank banner, and when they split, that's when he became Money Mayweather. Well, Canelo is seemingly doing the same type of thing. Whether they have a good relationship or not, Golden Boy got him to where he was a household name, and now, let's be honest, Canelo doesn't need Golden Boy. Canelo could walk and do his own promotional company and do the same thing Floyd did, because he's that popular right now. Now the line is more like, oh, well, he's not being loyal to me. That's Canelo saying that about Oscar De La Hoya. But isn't it a two-way street?
Absolutely.
When does the promoter? I mean, I've seen, I promoted fights, and I've seen young fighters where you invest a lot of money into them to build them up until they have some value, and then all of a sudden they leave and sign with another promoter, and then the promoter's the bad guy. Now, I'm not saying all promoters are good, but the deal is the deal. You sign on with a promoter, they build you up, and then, you could be looking at this, the other way. When a fighter starts saying, well, I do all the work. It's the same scenario all the time. Well, I'm the one that's taking the risk. I'm the one that's doing all the work. I need to get more paid. I don't want to give up my 33% or whatever the deal is. And I think that that's what's going on with Canelo. I think Canelo realizes that he could be successful financially without Golden Boy. And Golden Boy, being a businessman, he says basically, well, we're under contract. Let the lawyers fight it out. Right. And I think that's where we are with that situation.
Yeah, it does. And I think you bring up a good point that, like the Mayweather model, and I mean, even if you go back, Roy Jones, I think, might have been even doing the same kind of thing even before Mayweather, where, and even Sugar Ray Leonard to an extent, where they work under a promoter for a while and then get to the point where they're big enough and they've learned enough and they have enough people of their own staff that they create their own company. And I think that you're right, like you had mentioned at dinner last night, that the writing on the wall suggests that Canelo might very well do that. But, we'll have to see, because, I don't know, that sometimes that doesn't work.
Well, considering that Canelo has the deal with DAZN, not Oscar, I think that is a big driving force for Canelo.
And I think one of the things that Golden Boy, if it's Golden Boy that's done it, or if it's Canelo's advisors and matchmakers, one of the things they've done just absolutely masterfully is
that a word?
Yeah, masterfully.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Is their opponent selection and like when they've chosen to fight people.
All right, you just
they've been really good at that.
You just
with Golovkin, with Kovalev, definitely.
You just opened a can of worms that I got into last night too. I was watching. It was a great fight, the light heavyweight fight with Beterbiev and Gvozdyk. Sorry, and I'm listening to the commentating, which for the most part. We had Timothy Bradley, who I love, and Dre. Dre. He used to be Andre, but now he's Dre.
He's Dre.
Just Dre. And they're saying, well, we got to give these guys credit because they're actually fighting each other, and they could take a choice and either go for their legacy or they could actually fight and be a champion. Blah blah. And I'm saying to myself, I wasn't disagreeing because it's true, okay? But the problem I have is that the fans accept it. The fan accepts a fighter today either, taking on a challenge, which we want, or taking the easy road to multiple titles and, going that route. The issue that I have with that is that, it really starts with the promoters and the networks, because the promoters and the networks have, all of a sudden felt that they can't promote a big fight unless the fighter is undefeated or unless they're fighting for a title. And we've given life, the promoters and the networks have given life to all these sanctioning bodies to bring up these other titles and to invent the gold title and this title and I'm almost a champion title and all the crap like that. And then the same thing, the network, they say, well, we're not going to put your fighter on because he's got 3 losses. Well, those 3 losses, Kovalev has 3 losses. They happen to be, 2 of them happen to be against, Dre. But, the truth is that back in the day when boxing was as popular as, anything else,
baseball, football.
The thing was that we had these rivalries. We had, neighborhood rivalries. We had, state-to-state rivalries. And those fan bases would be built up first, and then it would expand nationally. We don't have that now. All of a sudden you'll get a guy that has been built up. He's got 20 wins. You never heard of him, and now he's on TV. And you say to yourself, and a lot of young fans say that, oh, he's 20-0. He must be good. They don't look at the record. and then now we have these computer rankings, which I question now lately. I used to feel that they were pretty accurate, but how can you have a fighter in Usyk who and no disrespect to him, but he fought one fight at heavyweight and he's the number one contender all of a sudden?
Yeah, well, he is a badass.
Do you know that he's above, by the computers, that they have him ranked above Tyson Fury?
Yeah.
How can that be?
Yeah, I know. Those kind of things are a little ridiculous. And like you had mentioned earlier, that Canelo ranked number 1 at light heavyweight is like, huh? He hasn't fought there yet.
Yeah, but that's the WB. See, that's a difference. That was the WBO rankings. He's not ranked by the computer yet because the computer only ranks a fighter once they fight. But to
figure.
Yeah, well, I mean,
what a crazy concept.
Well, that's the way it should be. I mean, but they shouldn't get a guy. And no disrespect to Usyk because I like him, but they shouldn't have a guy like Usyk all of a sudden catapulted above Tyson Fury.
Right.
I mean,
no, that doesn't sound right. And I think just considering his credentials in another division, yes, I think he's going to be very successful at heavyweight. But you're right, to give him a number 1 ranking, that's crazy.
Yeah, but I don't know. I mean, just because he was successful in one division doesn't translate. Now, and Canelo is going to be faced with the same thing. But the difference between, in my opinion, the difference between what Usyk did and what Canelo's doing is Canelo's going right to, arguably the best light heavyweight. You can make a strong case to say that Kovalev is the best one. Beterbiev and Bivol. Personally, I think Bivol is fighting in the wrong weight class. He should be a super middleweight. He looks too small. Actually, I like a fight between Bivol and Canelo.
I think he does too. I think that's why, what was it, yesterday or earlier this week, that he sort of alluded to the idea that he might stay at 175.
It all depends how he looks.
I think, yeah. And I think Beterbiev is probably the most dangerous of the guys that are out there. And again, because he has such a difficult clubbing, rough style, I wonder if Canelo would want to fight like that. But Bivol, I could see him facing. I could see if he gets by Kovalev and gets by him relatively easily, I wouldn't be surprised if he sets his sight on Bivol.
Well, let me ask you this. I mean, the Mexican heritage for fighters, traditionally, they seek the toughest opponents. They seek challenges, and Canelo is trying to follow that suit. Okay, if that is the case, should he get by Kovalev on Saturday night, and should he do well, stop Kovalev? Because if he wins by decision, you can make a strong case because he hasn't had the power as he's been moving up in weight classes. He hasn't. Okay, at least knockouts. He hasn't been scoring the knockouts. He's been.
Yeah, but look at who he's faced. I mean,
they're the top middleweights,
right? I think that's why.
Well,
he didn't knock out Golovkin. He didn't knock out Danny Jacobs.
Those are the top middleweights,
right? Well, those guys are hard to knock out.
Well,
I think that look what he did with Fielding. I think I don't think the power really is going to be a difficult.
Put an asterisk next to that fight, I think.
Yeah,
you do.
But I mean, but it was him beating a bigger man. So I mean, granted, it was just a bigger man.
Is that the case Saturday night?
I think that Kovalev is not what he used to be. I think Kovalev's best fights were the first Ward fight and the Hopkins win. And probably the rematch with Aleida Alvarez, because he showed that he could come in there and avenge himself and stick to a game plan and fight a good, solid fight. Still,
now that was the first fight he had with Buddy,
right? And I think that speaks volumes for Buddy McGirt, at the helm. So I do think that that's a big plus for Kovalev. But again, Buddy McGirt is a Hall of Famer in the corner. He's not going to be in there for 3 minutes. He only gets 1 minute at the end of every round. He needs him in those 3 minutes. That's when he's going to need the help, because he's all up against Canelo then, and that's going to be tough. I think.
Yeah, but you know what? This is exactly what we were just talking about. That's what a good trainer does. They do the work in training camp. they put together a game plan in training camp.
Yeah.
That's when the teaching, the training, the game plan, all of that gets worked out in training camp. Then during the fight, the adjustments have to be made. That's what separates a good trainer from a not so good trainer. The trainers that can help their fighter make an adjustment during the fight is what makes the difference.
Right.
And that's where Buddy McGirt excels. And the other thing that he brings to it is that everybody knows that Buddy McGirt looks out for his fighters. And when he says that I'm going to stop this fight, the fighters know that he's going to stop this fight.
Yeah.
And, and we saw that in the Yard fight.
Yeah.
I don't know if,
when he said, no. And Kovalev even said, no. He said, well, then show me something.
That round, that in between the rounds.
He woke him up.
But he was in trouble.
Oh, yeah,
he's
definitely.
He's lucky he survived that round.
Yeah.
All right? And then he came back and knocked Yard out.
And I think that's Canelo's people were watching that.
Exactly.
With their mouth watering.
Okay, but that's why my initial take on that fight was the way it was. I figured that Canelo was clearly looking at the body, and they were trying to get the fight because they figured that they would work the body and Kovalev would fail. But I think what they overlooked was the boxing ability by Kovalev. Now should he not be able to do it, it's going to fall into what we thought. But should he reinvent the boxing ability, which we've all seen from him, and he does have a beautiful jab. There's no question about that. So that now
and a big right. His 1-2 is great.
So now that poses a big challenge for Canelo. If Kovalev is using the jab correctly, and he's keeping the distance, he's keeping Canelo away from him, so that he can't work the body. It's a different fight, Alex, and that's my whole point. That's what, we're going to find out on Saturday night if he can still do that. Now, off the top of my head, you look at Canelo and you say Canelo's a warrior, Canelo can bang, Canelo can get in, he's very prideful, he's younger, blah, blah, blah. But can he handle a version of Kovalev that he is not expecting? They're expecting the version of Kovalev that Andre Ward stopped. They're looking at him as being, even in the Yard fight, when Yard connected to the body, Kovalev doesn't like the body. No. But Buddy McGirt made a great point. He said, well, body punchers don't like to get hit by the body either.
Right. Yeah, and I think that's, there has been times in his past that Kovalev did go to the body well. I think he did against Hopkins too, if memory serves. But I think that one of the things about it is that, and this did happen in the Yard fight, was that McGirt was telling him, look, keep jabbing, jab to the shoulders, jab to the chin, jab to the chest, keep that jab moving, because it's going to open up other things, and it gives you distance. He needs distance. He's going to need that against Canelo. The thing that Yard did very well, and then kind of gassed out, that I think Canelo can do too, is, and Tim Bradley kept talking about it in the early rounds in that Yard fight, is that check left hook. Yard was able to, as that jab would come at him, he would sort of step to the side and bang Kovalev with that quick check left hook to sort of say, hey, you got your hands up? And sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't. Slowly, he'd sort of found a home. Now, Canelo is going to do that. He's going to do it upstairs and downstairs. So,
but he's got to
get interesting.
He's got to get in close to do that.
Right.
He's not going to be. In order for him to get in close, if Kovalev lets Canelo get in close, the fight's not going to go to distance. It's not going to go to distance. If Kovalev allows Canelo to work the body, the fight will be over before the final bell.
Yeah.
I mean, so it's simple to look at this fight the way I am. The truth of the matter is if Kovalev can establish the jab and keep Canelo off of him, it's a good fight. If he can't, it's not. It's a one-sided fight.
Yeah, I think it's going to be one of those fights that probably by the end of the first round, we're going to see two big things. One, can Canelo, is the jab enough to keep Canelo away? And two, can Canelo affect Kovalev with his power? I have a feeling we'll see it early, because the thing about it is speed is power. Hitting you with a punch you can't see is power. And I think Canelo can do those things. And again, Billy C., like I said, what did Yoda say? Judge me by my size,
Listen,
do you?
Rocky Fielding, Canelo knocked out Fielding in December of last year. His previous knockout was against Liam Smith, and that was a mismatch. And previous to that, Amir Khan was way smaller. The power has not transcended as he's moved up to fight the bigger guys. You said it yourself. Triple G, listen, I said this when I wanted Triple G to fight Mayweather. Triple G is not a big middleweight. Danny Jacobs is a big middleweight,
and he's quick, he's moves, he's harder to keep wailing on.
Yeah, I mean, traditionally...
he's going to be wailing on Kovalev.
Well, Kovalev is a big dude. When you look at that fight, Kovalev, I think the age is going to come in and all of that. But let's talk real quick, and we'll take a short break. But Ryan Garcia against Romeo Deneau, I was mentioning it before. The computer has Ryan Garcia ranked at number 16, and Deneau is ranked at number 38.
Wow.
Which I think is a little out of reach, to be honest with you. Ryan Garcia will have a 3-inch height advantage. He'll have a 2-inch reach advantage in this fight. But when I look at his resume, the toughest fight that he has in his 18 wins was against Jason Velez. Jason Velez was the toughest fighter that he had. He's fought nobody, and Carlos Morales, isn't a killer, and he you can make the argument that he lost that fight. So I mean, Jose Lopez in his last fight had a good record, moving up in weight to fight Garcia. Garcia's young and he's fast. He'll eventually move up, I'm sure, to junior welter and probably eventually fight at welterweight. I mean, he's only 20 years old. But Deneau has been in some tough fights. I mean, his top 4 fights. A knockout over Christian Gonzalez when he was 16-0. Gonzalez was 16-0. He has a knockout. He has an 8-round decision over Juan Pablo Sanchez. Gilberto Gonzalez, he won 10-round fight, and Juan Antonio Rodriguez, he won a technical decision in May. Those are 4 tough fights that Deneau had with good opponents that Ryan Garcia has never stepped in the ring against. I think this is I'm not saying that Deneau is going to beat Garcia, but this is going to be a tough fight for Garcia. I think it's going to be a big test for him, Alex.
Absolutely, and I think that's really the best thing about it is that it's a step-up fight for him. It's something that I think everybody wants to see. It's part of his development as a fighter. Deneau is. It looks like you just pointed out. I think Deneau is the best fighter he's faced.
Well, look at this. The 4 wins that I just mentioned for Deneau, the combined record was 102 wins and 24 losses.
Wow.
I mean, that's impressive.
Yeah.
For a guy that wants Garcia.
Right.
Remember, Deneau wants to fight Garcia, and Garcia wanted to fight him too. I think it might be too soon for this fight.
It could be.
Based on the level of opposition that he had, and let's be real. I interviewed him. He's actually across from us right now doing an interview. I interviewed him last time. He's very confident. With what was argued in the press, about him should be in a main event fight. He's obviously listening to the people whispering in his ear how good he is, and that's a dangerous thing. Because in today's game of boxing, fighters are overprotected to the max, and I think Ryan Garcia is no different. He's been hand fed some easy opposition, and Saturday night he is not in there easy. If he makes quick work of Romeo Deneau, that will be his signature fight to date.
Absolutely, and I do think that this is one of those sports that. If you're too cocky, you're going to find out, and it's going to hurt. I think that this is going to be an interesting one, and I think that we should have a much better sense of, what kind of fighter Ryan Garcia is after this fight.
Well, do you have any thoughts on it yet? I
don't know. I'm going to lean towards Garcia by decision. But that's hesitant with that because of everything you brought up. This guy's a tough guy. Duno is a tough fighter, and
he's never been stopped.
Yeah.
He has one loss. He lost on a decision. I don't even know if he's ever been down. I do think that Garcia will get a decision should it go to the cards, but you never know. Hey, listen, the fight that we saw, I can't pronounce the guy's name, but we were just talking to his publicist, Mario Barrios. Same type of path that Ryan Garcia has taken. If you punch up Mario Barrios, you'll see that, for his first 15 fights or so, this was a guy that was in very, very light. And then his last fight was for a vacant title. Believe it was a WBA. And the kid that he fought was very raw, but gave him the fight of his life. Now, if Barrios didn't knock this kid down twice, I had him losing that fight. As a matter of fact, if I recall correctly, I had that fight either a draw or slightly in his opponent's favor. Mario Barrios got the win. He was the A-side fighter, and I think we're going to see a similar fight on Saturday night between Ryan Garcia and Romeo Dono. I think that this kid is going to challenge Ryan. That's what I think.
Well, I tell you, that would be interesting because that was on the Errol Spence, Sean Porter undercard, and it was against Batir Akhmedov. And, yeah, I thought Akhmedov won that fight. I was surprised.
Despite being dropped twice.
Right. I was surprised that Barrios got it because if you remember at the end, Barrios looked like he fought a train.
To quote my man Max Kellerman, who would you rather be after the fight? I certainly wouldn't want to have been him.
No, because Barrios spent the next day with a splitting headache.
He was in the hospital with internal bleeding, too, from what I understand. And then one of the best things that one of the worst sanctioning bodies did was they ordered a rematch.
Wow.
They made the mandatory.
Who runs that division? Yeah. The Marquis de Sade.
they figured that the fight was so good. Let's order it. It's like, damn, Marion.
Let's see that again now.
Yeah. Well, that's
put
Suleiman.
A Band-Aid on him.
That's like Suleiman making a judgment call ringside. No, that was a do-over.
Yeah.
But we'll see. We'll see what happens.
I thought I saw Ed Brophy here earlier.
I thought I did too.
Yeah.
But I don't think so. I think
it was.
Really?
I'm pretty. Yeah.
No,
he's not there.
Yeah, it
These
looked
are my
like
reading glasses. I can't really. Everything's blurry about 25 feet away.
Well, it's blurry for me too. But in any event, hey, listen, we're going to take a short break. When we come back, we'll talk some more about it. Hey, listen, if you are watching us live right now in the chat room, remember your super chat gets your comment, question, concern, whatever, on the air. We don't have the ability to make or receive calls, so I apologize for that. Hey, before I go, I just want to say one thing. Where you can get that, and don't forget the Zone. If you're not signed up, you better sign up. This fight's worth it. Right now, you can. I think it's $19.99 a month. Contrary to somebody in the chat room fighting with us tooth and nail over it. Now, what I had heard was that they raised it to $19.99, and that the people that were paying $9.99 were going to continue to pay that for 1 year.
Oh, that's it.
Yeah. Yeah, they're going to raise it on us, too. They have to. Think about, I've been crunching numbers on that, and they have to raise the price. Hold that thought. We're going to take a short break, and we'll be back, I don't know, probably 2 minutes.
Endless pools are an incredible alternative to traditional pools, making it easy and inexpensive to swim at home. Exercise year-round against a smooth current set to your desired pace and temperature. With our new underwater treadmill, you can walk or run without stressing your joints. Endless pools are simple to install and even simpler to maintain. The water stays crystal clear with almost no chlorine. Call for your free idea kit and experience the freedom of swimming at home.
Snacking has never been this exciting. At Graze.com, we combine wholesome ingredients with the flavors we all love to create over 100 exciting snacks. Like these. We'd love to send you a Graze sampler box for free. Just go to Graze.com, enter the code ENJOY36, and we'll mail your free box to your home or office. Join thousands of Grazers already in love with our exciting snacks. So come to Graze.com for your first box free.
Broken air conditioning, $4,400. Failing refrigerator, $2,500. Don't let outrageous repair and replacement bills like these bust your budget. Get the First American Home Warranty Plan. And when a covered appliance or system breaks, we'll repair it or replace it for you.
We had a high-end dishwasher go kaput. They put it in a brand new dishwasher.
We have plans that cover air conditioning, most appliances, plus heating, plumbing, electrical systems, and much more. Plans start as low as $25 a month. Why let a major appliance or system breakdown bust your budget or go through the hassle of finding trustworthy service people? Last year alone, we saved our customers over $120 million. Don't wait until something breaks and you're stuck with a huge bill.
You save a lot of money.
It's absolutely worth it.
If you don't have First American Warranty, get it.
Call 1-800-946-6234 for your free no-obligation quote.
Need relief from backaches and stiffness in your hips or down your legs? Then you need Dr. Ho's Back Relief Belt, the innovative technology works to support and decompress your spine. And now it's covered by Medicare.
Every patient with back pain should be wearing this belt.
Nothing gave me instant relief except for the Dr. Ho belt.
Feel good while standing, walking, driving, doing housework, and while laying down. And now Dr. Ho's patented belt is available at our best price ever. It's even covered by Medicare. Order now and get the easy-to-use hand pump and back rehabilitation DVD free.
You know, similar belts can cost you almost $1,000, but my belt won't cost you $500, not $300, not even $200. I will give you my special TV price.
And remember, Dr. Ho's belt is covered by Medicare.
If you know a friend or family member that suffers with pain, get them my system today. Help them live with less pain, be more active, and get back to doing the things they love. Give them the gift of health.
Endless pools are an incredible alternative to traditional pools, making it easy and inexpensive to swim at home. Exercise year-round against a smooth current set to your desired pace and temperature. With our new underwater treadmill, you can walk or run without stressing your joints. Endless pools are simple to install and even simpler to maintain. The water stays crystal clear with almost no chlorine. Call for your free idea kit and experience the freedom of swimming at home.
Snacking has never been this exciting. At Graze.com, we combine wholesome ingredients with the flavors we all love to create over 100 exciting snacks. Like these. We'd love to send you a Graze sampler box for free. Just go to Graze.com, enter the code ENJOY36, and we'll mail your free box to your home or office. Join thousands of Grazers already in love with our exciting snacks. So come to Graze.com for your first box free.
Broken air conditioning, $4,400. Failing refrigerator, $2,500. Don't let outrageous repair and replacement bills like these bust your budget. Get the First American Home Warranty Plan. And when a covered appliance or system breaks, we'll repair it or replace it for you.
We had a high-end dishwasher go kaput. They put it in a brand new dishwasher.
We have plans that cover air conditioning, most appliances, plus heating, plumbing, electrical systems, and much more. Plans start as low as $25 a month. Why let a major appliance or system breakdown bust your budget or go through the hassle of finding trustworthy service people? Last year alone, we saved our customers over $120 million. Don't wait until something breaks and you're stuck with a huge bill.
You save a lot of money.
It's absolutely worth it.
If you don't have First American warranty, get it.
Call 1-800-946-6234 for your free no-obligation quote.
Need relief from backaches and stiffness in your hips or down your legs? Then you need Dr. Ho's Back Relief Belt. The innovative technology works to support and decompress your spine. And now it's covered by Medicare.
Every patient with back pain should be wearing this belt.
Nothing gave me instant relief except for the Dr. Ho belt.
Feel good while standing, walking, driving, doing housework, and while laying down. And now Dr. Ho's patented belt is available at our best price ever. It's even covered by Medicare. Order now and get the easy-to-use hand pump and back rehabilitation DVD free.
You know, similar belts can cost you almost $1,000, but my belts won't cost you $500, not $300, not even $200. I will give you my special TV price.
And remember, Dr. Ho's belt is...
And we're back. You're watching and listening to the Billy C Show. We're currently live in Las Vegas at the MGM as Alex Pierpaoli and myself are doing our Canelo Kovalev pre-fight show. We're going to be here all day long. Missing Dax right now. Dax was should have been out here with us. He was going to come on along with my man Sal Rocky Senecola, but I forgot the phone system, Alex. So, but I do want to give a shout out to the infamous Jeremy C, who's in the chat room right now, and you know he's lying like he usually does, telling people I actually paid him off to go in there and cause trouble, but he just causes trouble anyway. He does it for free. He's like one of those causing trouble for free guys.
Like Woody Woodpecker?
Yeah.
Troublemaker.
Jeremy C. is synonymous to Woody
Woodpecker. That's a wise ass.
That's him. That's Jeremy C. But anyway, he's out there. And speaking of Jeremy C., as you can see, our background here, Jeremy C. never fixed my green screen, so we could actually have a cool background if Jeremy C. did his job.
So it would look like like on the moon or something?
The one I don't pay him for. So I mean...
His hobby?
Yeah. If he would have did the job I don't pay him for...
Yeah, they call that a hobby.
We could have set up the green screen, and we could have had a nice background. Instead, we have this drab-looking carpet. Nothing against the MGM, but it could have been a little...
I can't believe
actually,
how
there's
cold
a poster
it is in
right
here.
It is a
I'm
little
cold.
chilly.
It was warmer in Connecticut.
I tell you the truth, I have the sniffles. I knew I was going to get sick between the shuttle driver that was coughing and sneezing all over the place. I knew I was in for it then, and then the plane ride. Before you checked in?
Planes are rough.
I mean, before you get on the plane, do you have to be sick to get on?
It's a tube of sick.
It was terrible. It was terrible. I woke up this morning sick. Well, I feel better now, but I need to get a little sleep. That's one thing.
Yeah, I think you do.
But in any event, before we went to break, we were talking about the Ryan Garcia Romeo Deneau fight, and I really think that it's going to be a tough challenge for Garcia. One that I want to see him fight. I mean, don't get me wrong. I don't think that he shouldn't fight him. But I think that he seems a little overconfident. And a lot of times when you have a fight, and don't get me wrong, every fighter has to be confident. If they're not confident going into a fight, that's not a good thing.
Not good.
When you're interviewing a fighter and you say, how do you think the fight's going to go? And they say something
I'm a nervous wreck.
I'm a nervous wreck. I'm scared to death. I haven't slept in a week. No, but if they say something like, well, I'm going to do my best.
My blood pressure's soaring.
Yeah. When they say, well, I'm going to do my best, that's not a good sign.
Right.
But...
That's what I was talking to the cabbie on the way out here. I'm not on the way out here. I took a cab from Connecticut.
Yeah.
No, from the airport. And
if you had Alex's kind of money, you could afford to take a cab from Connecticut to Vegas.
An Uber.
Yeah.
But that was one of the things we were talking. I was saying what I was out here for, and he said, "Have you ever boxed?" And I said, "Yeah, I had, just as an amateur, I had one amateur fight, but." I couldn't handle it. And it wasn't the fight. It was the unknown. It was the whole day of the fight. I couldn't turn my head off. My mind was thinking of all these horrible things that could happen. And
Jeez, that's not like you.
Yeah, but as soon as the bell rang, it all went away. And then the bell rang to end the fight, and I came back to myself. And it was like, I'm glad I won. I'm glad I did that, but never again. I just couldn't handle the anxiety of it. That's why I am amazed by these guys. They do something that, I know I can't do. And I admire that tremendously because, they deal with fear in such a way that's just incredible.
Yeah, and some of the others don't deal with it as well. But you're right. If you're interviewing a fighter and, hey, how do you feel about this fight? And he's saying, I'm a nervous wreck.
Yeah.
I've been throwing up all night. Chances are that's not a good thing.
Yeah.
So, I'm not knocking him for being, confident. I just feel that the path that a lot of young fighters take today is dangerous because they're not given the opportunity to get better. The truth of the matter is that in order to increase, I've always said, to increase the level of opposition, a little bit every fight is the way to go. And the thing is once you struggle, once you have a fighter, I laugh because today's fighter, I need experience against a southpaw, so they find some, slug southpaw. Nope, now I know how to fight southpaw. Years ago they'd fight 20 southpaws, tall ones, short ones, guys that come at you, boxers. So you learn all the different aspects of. There's the guy you thought was Brophy. Anyway, and today they don't do that. So I think that, they're just not given the opportunity to get better. And the end result is when we see a young fighter, and I'm just saying hypothetically, a guy like Ryan Garcia, who's all of a sudden, in a position for, a big fight, should he get by this one Saturday night, is he getting better? They should be fighting tougher fights along the way, and if they dominate, then you increase the level of opposition a little more for the next fight. And should they struggle a little, well, now you just stumbled across a level of boxing that you need to find another guy like that until they can beat them handedly. Then you step up the level of opposition. That's the only way to get a fighter better. Every other team does this, like in other sports, they all do the same thing. They increase the level of opposition, and they get better and better.
Right, and I think that is a big thing with in this fight that Garcia has. Is the question is it too much of a step up? Because fighters do have to make that step up. It's important, and they of course they're going to learn from him. Learn from it, but you're right, is that sometimes if it's too much of a step up, this is a sport where you get really badly hurt, and because sometimes the fights are so rough, you leave a little bit of yourself in that ring that you never get back. So you don't want a guy to make, when he takes his step up, it's a fight like that. And I think that does speak what you were saying about before, is that, gone is the time. I think there's still some occasions of it. I know I'm lucky enough being in the New England area. We have CES boxing, which they do have some regional.
I don't
stuff.
recall getting a check from him.
No.
Stop promoting him.
Yeah, but I gotta say what's I gotta say the truth, and that's one of the things that they do well. They do establish regional rivalries. And I think that, especially where it's guys, the only people that care are people from the neighborhoods or from the city, like from Providence or from Hartford, from New Britain. Not a lot of people might know the guy. The guy might be 4-0, and the guy he's fighting is 3-1. But it puts asses in seats.
That's old style.
That really is.
And what that is, though, Alex, and I don't mean to interrupt you, but that's a club show.
Yeah.
And what's making it very difficult for promoters today is to do a club show, because a club show now, the cost of doing a show with the cost of commissions and, everything else that's involved, unless there's other kinds of revenue streams, like, TV used to be one of them. Well, companies like DAZN are kind of getting rid of that. Same thing with the other streaming services, ESPN Plus and so on and so forth. So you're not even getting networks that are willing to pay. So now it falls on those old grassroots promoters, the guys that are knocking on doors, hanging fight posters in gas stations. And that's why, Classic Entertainment and Sports that you mentioned, Jimmy Birchfield, that's why he does well, because he focuses on his local. Very rarely do you see a small promoter be able to make a profit. And obviously, he's making some kind of a profit, otherwise he wouldn't be doing it.
Right. And I think that's, for a while, a fighter works with a promoter like that, builds up an audience, and then might be handed over to a bigger promoter that gets him more world recognition. But yeah, I mean, our sport, it especially when it comes to neighborhoods and just making a guy, and even with social media too, those regional rivalries they matter, and it really does, make for a much more engaging, especially the fan experience when you're in a, like at the Hartford Convention Center, which is not a big venue, but you've got it full of people that are cheering because they like both guys.
Well, that's what we were saying earlier. Those types of build-ups where you have a local rivalry, two guys that might went to the same school that didn't like each other, or neighboring schools or what have you, and they develop a rivalry.
Maybe we're amateurs together.
Yeah, that sells tickets. And then, like you mentioned, New England, you got a kid from Connecticut, maybe he's going to fight a kid from Massachusetts, and now all of a sudden you have a state rivalry, and that kind of stuff builds up, and that was the blueprint years ago.
Yeah.
That was what they used to do. I mean, there used to be fighters, and going way back in the 20s, 30s, and 40s, there used to be fighters that never fought outside of one state. New York was one of the biggest states around. The commission, I remember that book, Mike Silver's book,
Arc of Boxing.
Yeah, The Rise and Fall of the Sweet Science. He took and focused on the comparisons with the numbers of boxers who had licenses, how many fight cards that were promoted per year, et cetera, et cetera. And, what he did was he determined, why boxing statistically, he proved that it was better back in those days. But, when you look at some of those fighters, they may never have fought outside of the state of New York, or maybe would venture into Jersey or Connecticut, and they would fight a whole career like that.
Yeah, that just doesn't happen anymore. It's crazy when you think about it.
It should, though. I mean, not for their whole career, but it should for a portion of their careers, so that they can have those fights, gain that experience, and get better.
Right.
It's like we were comparing with other teams, other sports that are team-oriented. If the worst team, I always ask this question, if the worst team played the best team every single week in football, let's say for 16 weeks, would they really be the best team?
Right. Yeah.
Because they keep, they have to keep, playing a better team, because when you're doing a team sport, by playing against a better opponent, it ups your game. Well, you think it's any different in boxing?
Isn't that what the Harlem Globetrotters do? They keep beating the same team.
Yeah, the Generals, the Washington Generals. But that's a different animal. But in boxing, you'll see fighters like we're going to see it Saturday night with Canelo. Canelo is going to fight. He's going to up his game because of the challenge in front of him. And Kovalev, even though he's fighting theoretically a smaller guy, his challenge is huge too.
Yeah.
He's got to prove people like you wrong, that he's not washed up. This could be his. A lot of people think that, this is his farewell, let me make a boatload of cash kind of a fight. But we'll see. He wins this fight. Now all of a sudden, he's in line for. See, that's the other thing that I always try to tell people. The incentive. Somebody will say, well, what's the incentive for them to fight? They're going to make a boatload of cash in this fight. Why don't they just cash out? Well, the incentive is if you win, you're going to get another boatload of cash. You know, so all of a sudden you have one more. It's always one more until. Hey, did you notice that if you move these things, it gets. They gave us these credentials on your wrist, right, and it locks in. So if you touch the thing, it moves it tighter, and you can't get it off. It's the crazy thing.
It's like a garrote.
It is. But you know what I'm saying, right?
Yeah. No, that does make sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good stuff.
So, you have any more comments on it? I mean, can you know?
Well, I thought that was one of the things that I thought was interesting about what Blair Cobbs was saying is that one of the time what he talked about and as a very important developmental time for him was when he was young and he was fighting every weekend. And one question I was wondering that I didn't get a chance to ask him was how much sparring was he doing also? Because that's the thing I think that is a big difference between yesteryear and today. Is fighters now spar a lot. Before they used to fight. And I think that I think you learn more. It makes sense. You learn on the job. Well, if your job's a prize fighter, you learn in the ring more than you learn in the gym. The thing about headgear, it's a whole different animal when you're in the ring without headgear. You could see much differently. That false sense of security is gone. You're kind of out there, and there's nothing to compare to that. Gym wars, even if you're
in Philly,
yeah,
even if you live in Philly,
even if in Philly, it's just not the same.
But that's because sparring is a training thing. So in other words, what I mean by that is, when you have fighters that are sparring, what happens is, you want to work on certain things with your sparring partner.
Right.
So going into the session, you say, okay, today we're going to work on, defending body punches or working the jab. So the sparring partner is going to be doing one thing to help the fighter.
Right. And if I hurt you, then I ease back.
Then you get
I
fired.
let you recover. I let you recover. In a fight, no. That's when I put the pressure on.
Right.
And that's where you learn something, because then you realize, oh my God, I'm hurt. I didn't think I could ever fight when I'm this hurt. And you have one of those Tim Bradley moments where you're like on autopilot, There's nothing to replace that kind of experience.
No, and it's a good comparison. Today they do spar more than fight, and you can't compare the two. And years ago, you would get these all-time great fighters, Sugar Ray Robinson, for example. He fought once a week for a good portion of his career. 3 of those fights were against basically glorified sparring partners, and then the 4th fight would be a real fight. But he's still fighting 12 real fights a year, even though he's getting 40 or 50 fights under his belt for the year. He's still fighting at least 10 or 12 real fights. Today they're getting Fighter of the Year awards for fighting 3 times in 1 year, and 2 of those fights are against very beatable opposition.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing about it is that, and I think that's sort of, the world we live in today, like you were saying earlier about, guys shopping around for titles and stuff. With social media, it's almost like you don't know what's real and what isn't real. This country especially, we've been drunk on ad speak for 100 years. So, and now it's
where can I get a bottle of that?
Yeah, it's to a fever pitch. So that's the thing about this sport that I love the most, is that when it comes down to it, from bell to bell, there is no one can tweet away or Instagram away what happens in a fight. You see it happened. You could spin it however you want, but we all saw it. It's, as Teddy Atlas says, a truth chamber. And I don't know, there's fewer and fewer of those today. So that's why I love this sport and have since I was 15.
Listen, you're just tuning in to the Billy C. Canelo Kovalev pre-fight show live from the MGM in Las Vegas. If you have not signed up for DAZN, make sure you get it. You're not going to want to miss this fight. It's a big fight. It's a challenge for Canelo. Kovalev is ranked number 1 in the world as a light heavyweight by the computers system. He is the WBO champion, so Canelo. And incidentally, the rule that you're not allowed to hold 2 titles, I guess, doesn't apply to Canelo because he still holds the WBC super middleweight title as well. So, they do make exceptions for the moneymakers. But in any event, listen, we're going to.
Can I just inject something just from
Sure.
a minute here from the Twitter?
Oh, different story.
Kevin Ioli is tweeting, the other day Canelo said it's not a given that he'll go back down to 160 and could choose to stay at 175. Top-ranked Prez Todd DeBuff told me he'd be all in for an Alvarez-Beterbiev fight if Alvarez wins Saturday.
Well, I tell you, no, he would be in. I don't know if
Todd would be.
I don't know if Canelo would. But
Todd's not the one who's going to punch in the back of the head.
The better fight would clearly be Canelo against Bivol. But hey, listen, hold that thought. What we're going to do is we're going to take a little break here. We're going to come back with part 2 of our live from Las Vegas show. So don't go anywhere. We will be back then.